We are in one of the spookiest houses in the entire city. Mr. King knows all about it because we're at the Riddick Folly house. And when I tell you spooky, you're gonna wanna hear this.
Yes, we have quite a few stories. We have heard some commotion in here, the winter kitchen.
So when you're hearing the noise down here, the pots banging and banging, do you normally hear them during the winter since this was the winter kitchen, or?
No, just because it was a kitchen itself, not necessarily just a winter kitchen.
Okay.
And we could be in the next room when you hear it, you could be upstairs when you hear it.
But you hear it?
Yes. Like that.
So Anna Mary would not have been in here because this would have been one of the servants.
Servants.
So the noise that you're probably hearing maybe could be a servant?
Servant, yes.
Wow. So this is where they would entertain?
Yes, this was their formal dining room. Did you wonder why it was called Riddick's Folly?
I did. I never knew. I've lived here for 6 years and have never been here.
It's Greek Revival. You didn't find many Greek Revival buildings in this area. 4 floors, 21 rooms, and 16 fireplaces. This is Mr. Riddick, who built the home in 1837.
Have you ever had anything spooky in the parlor?
As a matter of fact, in this room, we actually had a paranormal group sitting on the floor in this room one evening. And are you familiar with why that spoon is turned upside down on top of the cup?
No.
It's to show that person had had enough tea. When they were sitting on the floor in this room, that spoon flipped across the room. And they recorded, who are you and what do you want? These are some of the ladies' music books. To show you we have no idea where we're going to find family pieces, a gentleman emailed me from London, England. He said, I have a music book that belonged to Anna Mary Riddick.
Wow.
Found it in a piano bench in London. And this was painted by Anna Mary Riddick.
Wow.
She painted that one in 1862. She had just lost her fiancé to the Civil War. We have a black dress upstairs she wore for 25 years in mourning of him.
She really loved him.
Yes.
The spooky things that happen, do you believe that it is her, or do you think it's...
I think a lot of it is.
Yeah, because this is her home.
She's the one that lived here the longest of any of the family members. As a matter of fact, we can be in the office and you'll hear these exterior doors rattling, like someone's here. We walk around and there's nobody here.
So in real estate, we call this the man cave, but this is the gentleman's parlor.
As a matter of fact, we were in the ladies' parlor.
Okay.
And that was the room that Mills Riddick, that built the home, passed away in the ladies' parlor.
I love this piece here where the lock is. You like move it.
Now you were talking about hidden drawers.
Oh my.
We had never seen a picture of her. One of their great-great-granddaughters went onto our website and said, we have something that belongs to you, and sent us the 2 pictures.
I love how people around the country are like coming to you and how it's drawing them in. So tell me a little bit about the fainting sofa and the story behind that.
Well, to get this waist, they surgically removed bottom ribs. And then you would put a corset on over top of that. It would constrict the lungs. At times you just pass out, that's the fainting sofa.
When Mrs. Riddick passed away, she was 95. She only had 4 toes and half her ribs.
And she was 4'11".
All this time, we see all these really small people back in the day, but now we know they're removing body parts. I'm not willing to do that.
They had a piece I had been trying to get for over 15 years. They wouldn't loan it to me. I heard that the Valentine was starting to downsize, so I immediately called them. A week later, they brought me Mills Riddick's mother's 1770 wedding dress, and it folded up in a box. And they held an auction here in 1967. A lady that came to the auction purchased what we call, are you familiar with a box lot of items here at the auction? That box lot went to California, Japan, back to California, then she gave it back to us.
This is where you guys are constantly hearing some activity when no one else is here.
Footsteps, we have heard them. It sounds like they're coming from the attic, but there really is no, it's hardly crawl space in the attic.
Wow.
But you hear somebody just like they're walking around.
So we are sitting here in the Civil War room. All of this is graffiti from the Union. And when you look, you can see the old handwriting, all of the detailed, we don't write like this anymore, but this is also where the footsteps come from.
As a matter of fact, you've heard the term e pluribus unum?
Yes.
He wrote e pluribus union. This is the best signature we have left, which is Henry Van Wyck, Company I, 3rd New York Cavalry. This was written by a Union soldier. It says, Yanks, you ought to be here, know we would give you a good time. Different handwriting says, go home and stay there.
And you said you've heard people say like, go home, why are you here?
Yeah. That was in the front parlor.
You know who, like, is it Union soldier or?
Unfortunately, we do not know who it belonged to because you have to do so many DNA tests to find out who the blood belonged to.
So in the spooky room of the soldiers, there is still blood on the floor.
The city has tested that for us. It is blood. That's a painting of Camp Dodge done by Thomas Place. It says the rows of Camp Suffolk. When you unfold the fan, it tells you all of the men in charge of the buildings in the camp. Man came in about 15 years ago. He was from Pennsylvania. He said, I have something that belongs to you. Against that far wall is another drawing done by the same man. That same paranormal group that was sitting in the front parlor, they photographed a Confederate soldier standing in that doorway. He knelt down, stood back up, and then went away. A man walked in here one day, he looked homeless. I really felt sorry for him. I said, come on, I will give you a tour and I won't charge you. He said, but I have something I want to give you. We filled the room with what he gave us. This right here is Johnny. You can see a letter and flowers she gave him the day he left for the war. 2 days before he was killed at Mount Verde Hill, just outside of Petersburg, he wrote a letter to her. This is an excerpt from the letter. The last line says, I hope that peace may reign supreme over our bleeding country.
Wow.
He wasn't saying the North or the South, he said the country's bleeding.
Wow.
That's what I titled the exhibit. Now, 10 years after the war, a man came to Johnny's father and said, I think you've got my nephew in that grave, not Johnny. So they exhumed his body. Ellen Alice, his sister, identified her brother's body by a gold tooth that he had. His father said, take the gold tooth, we're going to make a memento out of it. The escutcheon on the ring is his gold tooth, and that's his woven hair on the band. They gave the ring to Anna Mary. Oh, there's that soldier.
Oh.
Wait a look. I don't like it. It's eerie being here at night by yourself.
Oh. Why is it in the basement?
No, I was listening to this bumping going on.
Me too. I was like, I think our Confederate soldier
It's a full
guy's
English
here.
basement. This was an adult bedroom originally, and we have heard some commotion going on in this room. Some slight voices that just sort of like saying, who are you? And we just seem to hear the same thing over and over.
What do the voices sound like? Men, women?
Women.
Women.
I'm thinking Anna Mary.
Okay, and she's asking, who are you?
Yeah.
Go home. This is my house.
That's right.
And is it pretty clear to hear? Like you.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
The first time you heard it, did you think you were making something up? in your head?
No.
You knew for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. King, for your time
Certainly.
and sharing your stories and your experience, and most importantly, the passion you have for this house.
Thank you. It means a lot to me. It really does.
You can tell for sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.